Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
One day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Once again, the historians are with us. Craig Shirley, presidential historian, Reagan biographer, and Doug Weed, presidential historian and former advisor to George H.W. Bush. Gentlemen, welcome back.
Hello, Greg. How are you?
Hi.
All right, terrific.
Thanks, Greg.
I want to show you something, and tell me if I'm crazy, but I really think that presidential demeanor is important, and I think President Trump had a more presidential demeanor than Joe Biden. Look at these guys side by side. I watched closely an interview with Joe Biden today on NBC. He conveyed nervousness and fear throughout the interview. Nervousness and fear are probably the last things I would associate with Donald Trump and the last things I would associate with an effective president. Craig, your thoughts, please.
Leadership is defined by a physical, moral, and physical presence. Joe Biden does not have a physical presence. He's often bewildered. He's often fearful. He's often at risk. He's often befuddled by the questions he's given. And it has nothing to do with his age. He's just not ready for prime time. And that's unfortunate. But we've had miniature presidents before, whether it was Jimmy Carter or Lyndon Johnson or others who are not really presidential timber. Not like a Dwight Eisenhower or Ronald Reagan or Donald Trump, who was ready for prime time and ready for the job, and you felt like you could go to bed at night and you were safe with them as president of the United States. I remember when Carter was president, I never felt safe when he was president. But when Ronald Reagan was president, I always felt safe.
I know exactly what you mean. I remember how kind of odd Jimmy Carter was. What do you think, Doug?
Well, I think that Joe Biden is self-conscious and nervous, and all the Democrats are, because what they're doing is so fraudulent and phony. And they know that many Americans, if not most Americans, know it. I mean, when Joe Biden takes credit for the vaccines, when they now take credit for jobs, imagine that. Donald Trump is the jobs president, and that drives them up the wall. They got to get that back. You remember when Obama and Biden took power, for the first 2 years, everything that happened, they blamed on George W. Bush. It was George's fault. We can't turn the ship of state around in just a few months. We inherited this mess. But now they're trying to take credit in the first 100 days on everything that Trump did without giving him any credit for it.
Here we go, Vice President Kamala Harris on that jobs thing. This is empirically, I believe, just matter of public record and data, totally wrong, but take a listen.
In 100 days, we have created more new jobs than any other administration in history.
Craig?
She's just in fantasy land. She doesn't know anything, and she's proving it to the world. These were jobs that were created under Donald Trump that have carried over into this administration, or the jobs that maybe she's thinking of are the make-work government-type jobs that are temporary and ephemeral, that don't really count. They're I don't know how to describe them except make-work. You know, raking leaves in a park is not a real job. So she's not up to speed. She's not ready for prime time. I don't personally feel comfortable that she's our vice president. She's making things up as she goes along, like claiming that they do all these things in the first 100 days. They're claiming more in 100 days than God did in 7 days.
She seemed to have a little bit of a total confidence, actually, Doug. Total and complete confidence when she said that, knowing that the media would not call her out on it.
Yeah, well, that's a great advantage. They know that the media won't call them out, as you say, and that they will actually run interference or protect them when they say something false. And it's not just the television media, it's big tech. Google will protect them. You can't even look these things up. I can tell you a country that created thousands of jobs immediately, and that was the Soviet Union. If the government hires government employees, of course it can create jobs, but the jobs that matter, that create wealth, that make dreams come true, were the jobs that came to those hardworking Catholic laborers in those industrial states that Donald Trump won in 2016.
You know, earlier in the show, we played a slew of comments from historians, prominent Democrats, who said that what happened on January 6th was the worst thing that happened in this country since the Civil War. Joe Biden said that on the other night when he made his big speech, which is, I mean, obviously that is incorrect, but somehow it has taken hold in at least the left's public consciousness, that January 6th, where one person, not 5, not 6, not Officer Sicknick, but one person, Ashley Babbitt, was killed on January 6th. And this is the worst thing there. And by the way, we were back in business. The government was back in business within hours. Isn't that right, Craig? I mean, it wasn't like the World Trade Center, which, you know, immobilized the country for months. It was back in business in hours.
Yes, it was back in business in hours. The left is trying to politicize this event to its fullest advantage for themselves. They forget the JFK's assassination, the Vietnam War, Watergate. You know, we've gone through many crises since the Civil War that this pales in comparison to these many crises. World War I, World War II, the Great Depression, you name it. There are myriad crises that we've gone through that are much bigger than this minuscule event. And it's just laughable that Biden and his cohorts in the media would claim this is the worst event since the Civil War. It's just nonsense.
Doug, predictions?
I'll tell you what's chilling to me is the very morning that Joe Biden gives his speech to the joint session in which he's going to call for unity, he sends his FBI in to raid the residence of his political opponent's attorney. That's a scene out of Nazi Germany. I haven't seen anything like that in America in a long, long time. They've got Trump living somewhere in their brain, and they can't get rid of him.
Well, they're doing everything they convinced themselves that Donald Trump was doing, or wanted to believe, or just lied about that Donald Trump was doing. It's kind of amazing. Thank you, gentlemen. I'm so glad you're here with us. Craig and Doug, to be continued for sure, and we'll be right back.
Do you listen to the TV on high volume or have trouble hearing conversations? Then you would benefit from hearing aids.